Welcome, Age of Vintage Society. A popular 50s and 60s singer, actress and dancer, Mitzi Gaynor was recognised for not only her singing and dancing abilities, but also her bright-eyed personality and chirpy charm. She brought zest and vivacity to all the Broadway shows and films she starred in. Known for her dancing techniques, she starred with such singing and dancing greats as Bing Crosby in Anything Goes, Frank Sinatra in The Joker is Wild, and Gene Kelly in Les Girls. Why Mitzi Gaynor rejected Howard Hughes's proposal. Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. This blonde dancer and light actress appeared in Hollywood musicals beginning in the early 1950s. Her career has spanned all media, including films, television specials and Broadway, and she continues to sing and dance on the nightclub circuit. The Emmy and Golden Globe winning actress began her career at the age of 13 in the Los Angeles Civic Light Opera as a featured performer in the corps de ballet of several Los Angeles, San Francisco and Philadelphia productions, such as Songs Without Words, Naughty Marietta, Roberta, Jolliana and The Great Waltz, and performed on Broadway in the New Century Theatre production of Gypsy Lady. Mitzi's vibrant performances were capturing the attention of composers, including Cole Porter and Irving Berlin, when noted film director Henry Costa and producers Sol Siegel and George Jessel arranged a screen test that resulted in a contract at 20th Century Fox. The road that led Mitzi Gaynor to international superstardom began in her native Chicago, where she was virtually born into the theatre. She was born as Francesca Marlena de Chagny von Gerber on September 4, 1931 in Chicago, Illinois. She was born too late for vaudeville, but she portrayed numerous important vaudevillians on the screen, and certainly was a major player in television variety. Gaynor is a second-generation musical artist. Her mother was a dancer, her father a musician. Her early childhood was spent in Chicago and Detroit. The family moved to Los Angeles when she was 11. Having taken ballet throughout her childhood, she got her first stage appearance performing with the Los Angeles Civic Light Opera as a teenager. She lied about her address so she could attend LeConte Junior High in Hollywood. Family members and teachers alike were quick to notice and nurture the natural-born performing talent of young Mitzi, who relished the hours of dance and performance training she was receiving. Her instructor, the acclaimed ballerina Madame Catherine Etienne, knew from an early age that the young performer was destined for stardom and encouraged the child's family to seek that stardom in Hollywood, and so the family moved west on a dream. "When I was 11, she said, Mitzi's going to go to Hollywood and become a star." And so she headed west, and at 17, Mitzi Gerber was signed to a 7-year deal at 20th Century Fox. She sang, acted and danced in a number of film musicals, often paired with some of the biggest male stars of the day. A Fox studio executive thought that Mitzi Gerber sounded like the name of a delicatessen, and they came up with a name that used the same initials. So he said, "How about Gaynor, like Janet Gaynor?" My father loved it. Gaynor made her film debut in a musical, My Blue Heaven, supporting Betty Grable and Dan Daly. She followed it with a college drama, Take Care of My Little Girl, where she played the roommate of Jean Crane. Mitzi earned her stripes singing and dancing through a parade of forgettable movie musicals, but she struck gold when she began dating eccentric billionaire businessman Howard Hughes. Gaynor was just 18 at the time. Hughes was in his mid-40s. She has more than just memories, sporting the earrings and necklace that Hughes gave her. They were together for 8 months. He asked me to marry him. Then I found out he'd asked 47 other women at the same time. The studio, quick to capitalise on the vivacious talent that would later propel Mitzi to the top ranks of show business, cast her in a succession of audience-pleasing comedies and musicals, including Golden Girl, We're Not Married, The I Don't Care Girl, and Bloodhounds of Broadway. In the music biopic Golden Girl, she played Lotta Crabtree. It was a mild success at the box office. Gaynor was one of several stars who were top billed. Bloodhounds of Broadway made $2 million. Fox put her in another biopic, The I Don't Care Girl, and she played Eva Tangway. The film made $1.25 million. She starred in Down Among the Sheltering Palms, playing a South Sea Island girl. She was the female lead in a western, Three Young Texans. Gaynor's most popular film in her time at Fox was Irving Berlin's There's No Business Like Show Business. She was billed after Ethel Merman, Dan Daly, Marilyn Monroe, Donald O'Connor and Johnny Ray. During this period, Mitzi met the man who would not only become the guiding force of her professional life, but also the great love of her personal life, influential agent and marketing genius Jack Bean. Thus began a 52-year marriage and career partnership that would result in motion picture classics, dazzling television spectaculars and legendary nightclub and concert appearances. Their 52-year marriage began this way. The doorbell rang at the Chateau Marmont, and I opened up the door, and there's this man standing there. He has the bluest eyes I've ever seen in my life. He's about 5'11". God, I loved him. Gaynor broke it off with Howard Hughes and left with quite the parting gift. He said, "OK, I want you to buy some dirt." I said, "Some dirt?" He said, "Yes, in Las Vegas, $25 an acre, which I sold maybe 8 years ago for $2 million. Encouraged by Bean, Mitzi starred in her first and only western with Jeffrey Hunter called Three Young Texans. Following that, There's No Business Like Show Business success, she was signed to a lucrative Paramount contract negotiated by Bean, which would yield 3 film hits: The Birds and the Bees with George Gobel and David Niven, Anything Goes with Bing Crosby and Donald O'Connor, and a praiseworthy dramatic turn in The Joker is Wild alongside Frank Sinatra. Now an established box office star, Mitzi was cast alongside Gene Kelly in the lavish globe-trotting MGM musical Les Girls, but perhaps her greatest film success lay just on the horizon. 20th Century Fox was preparing the film adaptation of one of Rodgers and Hammerstein's most lauded and successful musicals, South Pacific, and nearly every motion picture actress in Hollywood was vying for the role of Ensign Nellie Forbush. The film's director, the legendary Joshua Logan, had remembered catching a glimpse of Mitzi during a theatrical audition earlier in the decade. Convinced he had found his Nellie, Logan championed her for the part. The composers concurred, and Mitzi won the coveted role in a whirlwind of worldwide publicity. The film opened in 1958 to critical acclaim and international box office success. The soundtrack, featuring Mitzi's performances of I'm Gonna Wash That Man Right Out of My Hair and A Wonderful Guy, amongst others, has never gone out of print and remains to this day a perennial seller. For her performance, Mitzi was nominated for a prestigious Golden Globe Award as Best Actress in a Musical. Following that success, she returned to the big screen in Happy Anniversary, once again with David Niven, Carl Rayner and young Patty Duke, Surprise Package with Yul Brynner and Noel Coward, For Love of Money with Kirk Douglas, and ushered in a new era of acclaim as a live performer. Rodgers and Hammerstein's South Pacific made Mitzi Gaynor an international star, but she was not the first choice to play Nellie Forbush. "My dear, I never saw so little fabric cover up so much Italian." Her competition for the film role, Elizabeth Taylor, she couldn't sing, she couldn't dance, she couldn't move her ass, and plenty of other bold-faced names in entertainment history like Susan Hayward, Doris Day. After marrying Jack Bean, she had been released from 20th Century Fox before the start of There's No Business Like Show Business, with 4 years left on her contract, and decided with the time off to get married. The union was childless. After their marriage, Bean quit MCA and started his publicity firm called Bean & Rose and managed Gaynor's career. She tried to come back with a few romantic comedies, but by 1963 her days in film were over. The movie musical thing was finished, she said. The contract players were flooding the streets, and I was just part of the backwash. Mitzi first took the concert world by storm in 1961 at Las Vegas's fabulous Flamingo Hotel. Her debut broke all box office records and was met with overwhelming acclaim. Life magazine noted, Gaynor started at the top and climbed even higher. The Los Angeles Times called her the nation's #1 female song and dance star, and The Hollywood Reporter proclaimed her flawless and devastating. She's not just a straight hoofer and singer, but a first-rate musical comedienne, injecting wit and humour into her act that comes out charmingly. She would remain a major Vegas headliner for more than a decade, performing annually at the Flamingo for 4 years, before moving to the Riviera in 1966 for 6 years. It was this engagement that brought her the long association and friendship with noted costume designer Bob Mackie. Mitzi was the first star client for whom Mr. Mackie designed an entire show. He would continue to design the lavish razzle-dazzle costumes that remained a staple throughout her performing career. In 1972, Mitzi moved to the Tropicana, where she opened their new Superstar Theatre. Her groundbreaking high-concept stage shows set the gold standard for performing excellence and established her as a major attraction across the US and Canada from Miami Beach to Vancouver. For the next 5 decades, Mitzi would tour with a high-energy concert act that solidified her reputation as one of the greatest live performers of the era, and has long since been simulated by many of the top female talents of our time. Also a highly sought-after guest on the nation's top television programs, Mitzi also made several memorable appearances in the medium, including a 1964 appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, in which she had top billing over the Beatles. She also performed to great acclaim on several Academy Awards broadcasts, where her show-stopping 1967 rendition of Best Song nominee Georgie Girl before a TV audience of 65 million was met with wildly enthusiastic applause. Those successful Academy Awards appearances and an equally popular holiday installment of Kraft Musical Hall, titled The Mitzi Gaynor Christmas Show, led to an avalanche of inquiries from virtually every network offering the dynamic performer television series and specials of her own. During the 1960s and 1970s, Gaynor made 10 television specials, including her most elaborate, Mitzi and 100 Guys, which included guest appearances by Michael Landon, Bill Bixby, Andy Griffith, Monty Hall and Bob Hope. As late as 1989, Gaynor was embarking on a 36-city national tour of the musical Anything Goes. "I got my Social Security card when I was 12, she said at the time, and I haven't been out of work a single day since then." Throughout the 1980s and 90s, Mitzi continued to entertain sold-out audiences at top concert venues and performing arts centres across the United States and Canada, and returned to the theatrical stage starring in the national tour of the Broadway revival of Anything Goes. She also added a new dimension to her career as a witty chronicler of Hollywood history in a popular series of columns for the influential trade paper The Hollywood Reporter. The New York Times called her an all-time great. Rex Reed of the New York Observer noted, "Glamorous, colossal, and one-of-a-kind, Mitzi Gaynor is the real deal." And the Las Vegas Tribune said, "All the ingredients for a great show and a lot of fun." If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about the life and legacy of Mitzi Gaynor?